Okay, it's on.
Okay, ready?
Alright, so let's cut to video. Alright, stand by everyone. Sorry about the delay, but we are now live. And I'll key you in, Kieran, just for the introduction. Cut to video. Are you ready? Ready?
Go. Sunlight beaming forth in the east from the fatherland, bringing tidings of a new world to families in the valleys, in the fields, to send them all throughout the world. Heaven's glory spreading forever, the hope of joy and peace. Lord, Lord, and Lord, throughout the shining fatherland, tells the tidings of the rising sun that brings us life. Harvest quickly met up the field, hasten to harvest now. Crops are ripened and ready to bring into the heavenly boast. That heavenly host gathered to speed the time. Oh, we'll share the harvest of joy at the banquet of our Lord. Lord, Lord, and Lord, throughout the shining fatherland, tells the tidings of the rising sun that brings us life. From the walls of 6,000 years, far gone from the Father's heart, sons and daughters shall live with great joy. Our worship heaven's waited for this day. Loyal men of hope and fidelity yearn to see this day. Lord, Lord, and Lord, throughout the shining fatherland, tells the tidings of the rising sun that brings us life. Don't go to Lord, Lord, throughout the shining fatherland, tells the tidings of the rising sun that brings us life. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our joint Sunday service with North London. It's a Central London joint Sunday service, and welcome everybody to Lancaster Gate. It's great to be back, and I'm pretty sure everybody is sort of getting more and more used to going outside and sort of walking around in nature. The weather is beautiful, and we are really happy to be here. And of course, hello everybody who's watching on the live stream. Thank you for tuning in, and welcome also. So this is sort of the, restart of Sunday services since the lockdown, and we've been trying new things. We've been working with a new live stream system, which is why we have started a little bit delayed. So I apologize for those technical mishaps, but we are now here and we're now ready. And so we have an amazing Sunday service. We have Elder David Rennie, who'll be giving us the message today. And so, we'll introduce him more formally later on. But first, let us sort of say hello to each other, say hello to ourselves. We may not be able to go up and hug each other and handshake so much, but you can still turn around, you can still stand up and wave. So let's greet each And of course, hello everyone on live stream. Okay, so yes, thank you so much, everybody. Just a reminder again, because of these new sort of social distancing regulations and guidelines, I would like to encourage everyone that is here to please try to refrain from singing, even though it may be very difficult because these songs are amazing, right? But yeah, please refrain from singing aloud, but we still encourage you to praise, to worship, to clap along, to enjoy the music, to really internalize the lyrics, and to really have a meaningful experience with God through the songs, of course, as well through the message and through every other part of this service. But yes, thank you. So now we will go on to, just give me a second. So now we'll have the EUME video, and then after that we'll have the pledge and a prayer, and then we'll enter our worship section. So moving on to now our EUME video. Please enjoy.
Middle East region. So as always, we like to get started by aligning with our true parents and the central providence in our headquarters in Korea. So we'll have a short clip from the international news to highlight some of True Mother's plans for this year.
The second half of 2020, the Family Federation, as part of Heavenly Parents' Holy Community, is embarking on a new challenge. Rallies of hope for the firm establishment of a God-centered, united world in 2027. Online rallies providing hope. Advancing with the 6 axes of UPF, the International Summit Council for Peace, the International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace, the associations of religious leaders, leading economists, academicians, and journalists. The paradigm of a God-centered, heavenly unified world, outlined by top leaders from all walks of life and 1 million people from 190 countries, will open the era of a God-centered, heavenly unified Korea, which one day will become a reality. As isolation and lockdown have become the norm amid the COVID-19 pandemic, Heavenly Parents' true love, which transcends time, space, language, and culture, will illuminate the hope of a God-centered, united world.
Wow, I always really love watching the international news because you get a sense of the scale that our movement is able to work at. And you can see from this recent video, Mother's really urgent to move the global providence forward and create a global foundation on the second half of this year and all the way into 2027. And there is a way that we, in our region, can really help support these efforts. And the first thing we can do is make sure that we get True Mother's autobiography. I already got it down on my Kindle here, but even better, now our bookstore in Germany, Kondo Bookstore, is finally able to send it out at a bulk rate. So in your local communities, make sure you organize, make sure you put some orders in so that we can disseminate this autobiography to our guests and to our contacts. And then the other bit of news is that Mother's organizing on August 9th, so please save the date, a global rally for the hope to advance. And this will be the goal of 1 million people joining the live stream. So we're asking for volunteers to help participate, but that means you're gonna have to be there the entire time for the rally and dress up because you'll be visible to the cameras and you'll be part of that visible audience. So if you're interested, talk to your national leader, talk to your regional leader. Coming back to regional news, this week in the UK, we celebrated the Seonghwa of Gwyneth Warner, a longtime and dedicated sister in the UK movement. For those of you that knew her but were unable to attend the Seonghwa, the full Seonghwa event is available on YouTube. Also in the UK, the BCLC, or the British Clergy Leadership Conference, has been holding bi-weekly training sessions to introduce the divine principle to pastors and ministers across the UK. In the most recent session this past week, Pastor Daniel received a revelation after hearing about the life of Jesus that John the Baptist was a disobedient child.
Excuse me, sirs, and the Lord is just speaking to me now. This is something I didn't know before. John, he was a wild man, a disobedient child. His father had prophesied about him preparing the way of the Lord. The Lord was telling me that John refused the training of his father, and he started to do things his own way.
So you can see that the Spirit is really moving, and Spirit World is really helping the Christian ministers understand the principle.
Hello from Portugal. For True Father Centenary, we prepared an exhibition of True Father's victorious life in our Peace Embassy in Lisbon, open to everyone. It will remain here until the end of this year.
We also ordered thousands of flyers for mobilizing members to distribute house to house.
They're already fully translated in our language, and we will open an exhibition in another center in Porto as well.
Everybody be healthy and have a nice week.
Thank you, Portugal, for that inspiring report. It's great to see our peace embassies being used to promote True Parents' life and work. And speaking of peace embassies, in Albania, President Moisiu came and visited the construction site for the brand new Çanılguk Peace Embassy being built in Tirana. Next, we have an inspiring video message from the Concerned Peoples Group, who recently held an event centered around the issue of racial reconciliation.
Concerned People had its official launching on July 9th, just a few days ago. An overwhelming 130 brothers and sisters from around the world joined us. We are burning to help our True Parents clean up resentments and hurts among us as sisters and brothers, and open the way for true and unconditional love among all of us. We want to live up to the name of Heavenly Parents' holy community, making it shining and visible to everyone. So come on, sisters and brothers, don't be shy. We are in need of each other. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Hewish, I'm 15, and I've been here working at the clean-up operation at Cleave House for the last 3 days. It's been intense, it's been hard, but we're all working together and we're getting stuff done.
Hi, my name is Benny Vita, I'm from South London. It's been a great time. It's not been easy, but we've been working through it together. I've enjoyed it a lot and I'll definitely come back again next time.
My name is Pyeongchan Dindi, I'm from South London community. It's a lot of work, but we've managed to have a good start and make some progress, working together as a good team.
Hi there, my name is Victor Ranieri, I'm 20 years old, and I'm here at Cleave House doing some service projects with a bunch of second gen, just working the fields, clearing out some logs from a little bit of the shed, and also just general cleaning up around the house, and it's been a really good experience.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I've always been of the mind that our church development is directly related to the amount of teaching taking place. So I'm very encouraged to see how much revived interest there is in teaching and studying the divine principle, whether that's following a traditional format, as with a 15-day workshop that is attracting a huge attendance online with some top lecturers, or in the form of smaller initiatives like that of the East London community. They've invited William Haynes to share innovative ways of presenting the principle to people who already have strong Christian faith. If this represents the start of a revival, it's a very welcome sign, and I encourage you all to join in, for as in the time of Jesus, it is the case that the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. But of course, technology has changed. Now large farms have largely automated mechanical harvesters which are guided by GPS. And we have new initiatives as well. New software needs to be developed, of course, and that's where your role comes in. And there's a role, I think, for everyone. So please pray and find the way that you can make a unique contribution in the second half of this year. Thank you. Have a good week, everyone.
Isn't it amazing to see everything that's going on around the world and, of course, in the UK? Yeah, so much for us to get involved in, so much for us to plug into. So, yeah, let us keep that in mind. We also have more announcements on later. But now let us move on and recite our family pledge, number 1. So, yes. Okay, so I'm pretty sure all of us know the pledge off by heart, so maybe for now let's try reciting it off by heart. So, family pledge number 1. Our family, the owner of Channel Gook, pledges to seek our original homeland and build the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven, the original ideal of creation by centering on true love. Thank you very much, everybody. Please join me in a prayer. Dearest, most beloved heavenly parents and true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, Father, Mother, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us all to gather here together as your children here in this building, 43 Lancaster Gate, to be able to worship with you, to be able to worship you and to be able to fellowship with each other and to be able to convene with each other today. I pray that you can really be with us throughout the rest of this service and, of course, throughout the rest of this day and this week and, of course, month, and that we can really be touched by you through the songs, touched by you through the message that we will receive, touched by you through each other. And, of course, even though there are only a limited capacity of us here today because of lockdown regulations, we really pray that soon we'll be able to convene with each other, everybody here together, safely and soundly. And, of course, we pray for those that are watching on the live stream. I pray that they are also being able to receive you through music and through the message, even though there is a technological barrier. I pray that they can also still have an amazing experience here today. So I'd like to offer this prayer now on behalf of everyone here with gratitude and thanks in my name, Kieran Hoyt of the Hoyt family, Essential Best Family, Jew. So I'd like now to invite up the band as we enter our worship section. It's a little bit of a tongue twister there. So yeah, and just to encourage us all to, just to, as they get themselves ready, to encourage us all to worship, to really take in the words, even though you may not, those that are here may not be able to sing aloud. You can sing in your hearts. You can really take the time to really listen intently to the words, listen intently to the music, and to allow God to move you that way. So thank you, and please join us in a worship section.
Worship His holy name.
sing your praise unending. 10,000 years and forevermore. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. I'll worship Your holy name. Worship Your holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. As the deep panteth for the water, so my soul longs after You. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship You. You alone are my strength, my shield. To You alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship You. I want You more than gold or silver, only You can satisfy. You alone are the real joy giver and the apple of my eye. You alone are my strength, my shield. To You alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship You. You're my friend and You are my brother, even though You are a king. I love You more than any other, so much more than anything. You alone are my strength, my shield. To You alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship You. And so now, this last song before we enter into the message was requested by our message giver. We'll be singing We Are One in the Spirit. So yeah, please listen intently to the words, listen intently to the music, and hope you guys can really feel the Holy Spirit for this one. We are one in the Spirit. each other. We will work side by side. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. And we'll guard each man's dignity and save each man's pride. And they'll know we're God's children by our love. Yes, they'll know we're God's children by our love. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And they'll know we're God's children by our love. Yes, they'll know we're God's children by our love. We are one more time. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. And we pray that our unity will one day be restored. And they'll know we're God's children by our love. By our love, yes, they'll know we're God's children by our love. Thank you very much, everybody. So just before I introduce the message giver, we have a reading for us here, so I shall read it out. Okay, so this is Father's word. The path at the movement of finding the true ancestral root. Father gave this speech on July the 23rd, 1989, at the Little Angels Performing Arts Center in Seoul, on the occasion of the inauguration of Reverend Sung Myung Moon as president of the Korean Association for Finding Ancestral Roots. So let's begin. Koreans have been taking care of their clans and lineages out of loyalty, filial piety, and etiquette. This is based on their outstanding respect for heaven. However, Korean society is going through the process of rapid industrialization and urbanization, causing the communitarian spirit to fade. The position of the family is challenged from many sides, and it is changing. We recently faced a crisis that has shaken our traditional culture and good customs. This situation is worsened by intergenerational conflict in families and confrontations between labor and management in business. To make the starting point for a happy world, a true association for finding ancestral roots needs to develop into a movement not only for finding and attending our ancestors of each of our clans, but also for confirming that all of us are descendants from the same root. Genealogies on the clan level need to be unified with the genealogy of the entire people. Clan-level root consciousness needs to give way to the consciousness of a deeper root, which acts as the centripetal force of all humanity. Originally, we were not created to live in relations in which people could not survive except by eliminating their rifles. We were created as one community, receiving life from the same root. Our movement cannot be restricted to the individual level. The root of various races is ultimately one, and we need to educate human beings to harmonize through that one root and to live as a community of passengers on the same boat called planet Earth. With the development of science and technology, human beings have come to need international cooperation more than any time in history. Good global communication and joint projects for resource mobilization are urgently needed. The quality of air and water in the global natural environment must be preserved for the survival of our descendants. We in contemporary society cannot predict the future of the world. We are uneasy about the impact of ideological confrontation between East and West, mass production of modern weapons, international terrorism and crime, the prevailing trend of decadence, and so on. All leaders need to open their minds, cooperate internationally, and harmonize for the purpose of the whole in order to solve urgent world problems. Now more than ever, we need to understand humanity as one organic community, demolish barriers between races, and harmonize and unite cultures. So that is the reading before the message, and now to invite up our message giver, I'll give just a short introduction. So he previously has done missionary work in India. He has a family of 4. He is normally working with the North London region of our Holy Community. But he has come down here to Central London, part of this joint service, to offer up a message towards us all. So please let's invite up our elder brother, David Rennie.
Thank you very much. So good morning, brothers and sisters. Wonderful to see you. This is the first time I've met anybody for the last 3 months, apart from at funerals. So this is a celebration. It's wonderful to come back to Lancaster Gate. Reverend Moon was standing here on this stage. He was normally in the center and we were watching. He said, one day you will have an electronic church. And he said, I will give you all video recorders and you can copy my speeches and go in your car, house to house, and give it to every church, every house within your 360 home church area. He said, 1-to-1 will not be enough in the future. We'll have to go electronically. Yeah? That was 1978 that he said that. The confusion of values that Reverend Moon was talking about was June the 23rd, 1989, when he said, we have one world, we have one environment, and all of our cultural norms are breaking down now. How can we make a new cultural norm for the whole world? You know, his prophecy about confrontation, east-west, about the fact that we live on one planet and the air that we breathe has to be good for the world. We're breathing the same air that they breathe in Brazil and in China. Yeah? It circulates around the whole globe. This is one globe. So what is our value system? I was thinking, do we have a value system which is good enough for the whole world to lock together and to stop confronting each other, as that speech said, and actually start loving each other? Reverend Moon in 1978 had a wedding in this very room. And he said, I would like people from enemy countries to pledge their loyalty to God first and to each other second, and to pledge that they will never give up loving each other. Even though their families come from warring countries, you come from one country, one world, one heart, one God, one true parents. Will you pledge for the benefit of history forever your love to each other in the name of true parents and in the name of God? He said that in this room. So it's very emotional coming to this room Yeah, it's a place of great significance, of great power and great providential significance to each and every one of us. There is one couple here who are actually married in this room, which is a joy. In the small amount of people that are here, we have one couple chosen and blessed by Reverend Moon to be an ideal family in front of mankind, in front of God, and in front of society. That was the pledge that I gave in New York in 1982. To be an ideal family in front of God and in front of your children and in front of your society. And my wife last week said, yeah, we got a long way to go, haven't we? Really, look at those words. Gosh, they're strong. Yeah. So thank you for the band for playing We're One in the Spirit. We Are One in the Spirit was written in 1960 by a Catholic priest called Father Peter Scholtes about John 13:34 to 45, where Jesus said, love one another as I've loved you. And in that strength, love one another. By this, people will know that you're my disciples. He didn't say they'll know we're Christians, because there were no Christians at the time. Yeah? But he said, if you love others in the same way that I've loved you, people will recognize you as my disciples. This saying was later amplified in the 2nd century by a non-Christian Greek writer called Aristides, who reported to his king on what these Christians were like. And this was his report in a very short form. He said, the Christians seem like they know God. And they trust God. And because of that, they have good moral lives of purity. Their women practice chastity and beauty. And they look after their mother and father in a way of duty. Yeah? They take care of all of their members, and especially if their members are starving or if their members are in jail, they pay the bail and they get the freedom of their members. So they look after each other. How they look after the members who have suffered in proclaiming publicly. He said they comfort each other. They call each other brethren, brothers and sisters, yeah, after the Spirit and in God. This is a new people with inner divinity, and those people love each other. So that's the origin of that song. It's deep, isn't it? It's beautiful, yeah? So I have to think, are we recognizable in the way that we love each other? What would people say, on WhatsApp if they meet a unificationist or a member of the Holy Community? Would they say, these guys are cool, they love each other, their women are beautiful, and they're chaste in their attitude? So, within early Christianity, they developed a strong cultural identity. I know who I am. Yeah? They saw that Jesus died for others. So they said, I don't mind dying for others. Why? Because that's our cultural identity. I don't know whether Jesus was happy at that or whether he just cried from the spiritual world. One of Jesus' followers said, Jesus was crucified vertically. I will be crucified upside down because I am not worthy to die the same way that my Lord died. Yeah? But that was a cultural identity, saying that I'm giving my life just like Jesus did. What is our cultural identity? In early Christianity, they had the tours of St. Paul. He went all over the world in a boat. Yeah, we have Zoom, we have WhatsApp, we have YouTube. Yeah, how quickly can we go out to millions of people when Paul took the whole of his life and suffered imprisonment? Yeah, so we can go out on this very broadcast that we're doing today instantly to tens of people, hundreds of people, thousands of people, or even more. That's amazing. So how do we have our own identity? And what are the values that give root to our identity? The idea of self-sacrifice and of even dying for the love of our neighbor, that's very central to a Christian identity. What is our unificationist identity? How do we see each other? Huh? Last year, Reverend William Haynes, who is on his mother's side Jewish, which makes him Jewish in a strict historical sense, I said to him, what do you think about Reverend Moon's expression of the change of blood lineage? And the holy wine ceremony. Is Reverend Moon a magician who says, right, old, new, which is what many Christians think Jesus was like, as a miraculous, unscientific miracle maker who took stones and made omelettes, I don't think Jesus was like that at all, He was real, yeah? So Reverend Haynes said to me, I think that the holy wine ceremony comes in a feeling of identity. He said, before we meet the Messiah, we identify with our own culture, with our own fallen culture, with our own evil, selfish culture that, as Reverend Moon said in his speech, sacrifices others and gains victory by dominating and hurting others. So he said, the time of the blessing of the true parents is the time that you say, the old is gone, and I identify with true parents. True parents are my true parents. They have an expression of God's love, God's masculine love, God's feminine love, God's parental love. And that is now my love. So I am now God's father, God's mother, God's parent, God's child. So he said, that's our cultural identity. So it is a clinging to the eternity of the Shimjang of God. The desire to give your heart, to give your love, and be united with the object of your love from eternity to eternity. So he said, after you go through the holy wine ceremony, you choose to be one with God. God's responsibility is fulfilled by sending the Messiah. Our responsibility is fulfilled by following him and by becoming one with his thoughts internally and one with his actions, which is external. So do we think like true parents? Do we love our spouse like true parents? Do we love our children like true parents? Do we educate our children? Do we put the value of God as our first value so that our personal benefit comes as second, third, or fourth priority? But our loyalty, that our word is the word of God, is that our prime value? Then when we have that value, do we think about it? This tribal identity is the identity that True Mother is trying to establish at the moment by saying we are God's holy community. We're not Muslims, we're holy community. We're not Buddhists, we're holy community. We're not communists, we're holy community. We're not English, we're not Anglican, we're not Pentecostal. We're not any of these limiting topics. We are one unity who is holy. That is so liberating to me. Last year it seemed that we would be called a church, and I thought, oh, please not. I can never go back to my mosque if I'm called a Christian in a church. I want to preach in the mosque. Yeah? I want to go to my Buddhist temple. Yeah? I do not want to be limited. God is not limited. I don't even think God understands what religion is. Religious divisionism. That's not part of God's holiness. God's nature is love. And love does not see cultural separateness. God sees if we love each other, and he cries if we don't. That's the sort of the long and the short of the heart of God. That if husband and wife adore each other, if parents adore their children, and if grandchildren look at their grandparents and say, to me, I don't understand theology, but Granny, Grandpa, you are to me God. That is the kingdom of heaven that I love living in. I'm very stressed being a parent. It's really hard to be a dictator. I'm very in joy when my granddaughter makes some little painting and brings it up to me and says, Grandpa, I did that for you. And I say, it's beautiful, it's lovely, and you're beautiful, and you're lovely. And I think at this point, Reverend Moon's prediction that we would build the kingdom of love has already come true. My wife, being more practical than me and less ideologically optimistic, would say, but you've got a long way to go, so don't forget it. Yeah. So, when you meditate on your own, do you think about yourself? Do you think that you're valuable, or do you think you're useless? A lot of people think, oh, I'm no good, I don't know, does that matter? What do I count? It's just me, and I don't even like me. If you realize that you are the chosen, beloved son and daughter of God, and that the whole universe, the whole of nature, in its evolution for tens of millions of years, is for you, you will feel, I have a valuable life, therefore I've got to do something valuable with it. If you think that your lungs can blow a flute, not in a COVID crisis, but normally, you would not smoke cigarettes. If you realize I'm a valuable musician, therefore I won't trash my body. If you think one day as a teacher I'm going to teach hundreds of people, you won't drink so much whiskey that your brain starts to atrophy. So we will only do bad things when we don't understand our good personal value. So, as Mr. Balcom often says, here's your homework. Your homework for next week is meditate on your value. Are you valuable on your own? Not much. Are you valuable in relationship? Absolutely. You're valuable to your mum, you're valuable to your dad, you're valuable to your children, you're valuable to your spouse, you're valuable to your nature, you're valuable to Almighty God. So we have cosmic value. We're the center, heaven and earth. So yes, let's meditate positively. What value do I have? Can I have a valuable week, or shall I just have a junk week where I sleep, drink tea, and get stressed? I've had a few of those. I know what I'm talking about. So, what is our value to society? When Reverend Moon was here in 1978, he gave everybody in this room 360 homes. He said, you can't serve the world, so there are 360 degrees in a perfect circle, so take 360 homes and paint their living room, do their dishes, mow their lawn, do something practical, yeah? Go out and serve. When people saw how members were serving, they thought, these guys are strange. I really don't want them in my house. Or they think, well, I heard bad things in the newspaper about Moonies. These guys are not too bad. And other people said, wow, they're really nice people. You know, please come in. You were married by Reverend Moon? Can I be married by Reverend Moon as well? So Reverend Moon said, get a book And they're quality A, quality B, quality C. Quality A, immediately invite them to a workshop. Quality B, put them on the list of next month's workshop. Quality C, don't waste your time for the moment. Just when you have extra time, go back and serve in those. And that's how home church started. Yeah, from this very room in 43 Lancaster Gate, from this very stage. Yeah. So what do people say when a member of the holy community comes into their presence? Do they say, wow, here comes a really lovely person. Here comes a blessed couple. Wow, they're blessed by Reverend Moon. They're a gorgeous couple. They really love each other. Amazing. Yeah? Do they say, whoa, your children are incredible? We have an African couple in Milton Keynes. One comes from North Africa and one comes Northwest Africa, and the wife comes from Zululand, yeah, in the southeast. Their children are exquisitely handsome. And the vicar of the central church in Milton Keynes came up to me and he said, I understand Reverend Moon's marriage blessing because of those 3 children who come to my service. They're so beautiful. I understood. God told me what your values are just by looking at them physically. I was amazed, you know. I mean, I think exactly the same, but completely unsolicited testimonial from somebody else. Yeah. He said, I understand your religion now, not because you taught me, but because I saw your second generation. My father was helped in car parking at our 25th wedding anniversary. And all of the second-gen brothers helped with the car parking, and the second-gen sisters who came to my parents' house did the cooking in the kitchen. And my dad came up to me at the end of our party and he said, I don't want to be rude about you and your sister, but I tell you, when you and your sister were 18 and when your young people are 18, there's a marked difference, he said. Which I thought was incredible, you know, really incredible, because my dad's not a unificationist, but he just observed, you know, he just observed. This is a chosen, beloved people, and they're showing the fruits of the Spirit in their attitude, in their love, in their sense of service, in their, what unificationists call attendance. They attend other people with a beautiful attitude. He didn't then say, you and your sister, you never attended us at all, but that was the implication. So I must apologize to my recently departed father for that. So, when you go witnessing or when you go into society, do people say, this person is like my parent, yeah? In my parents I find comfort and refuge. That's our identity. That's our value. When we really go out in society, we don't say that to others. They say that to us. These people act like parents. So the Christians were seen as lovers of each other. Our goal is to be beloved in society as true parents. So that people say, yes, they truly have parental nature. They truly have parental lifestyle. When I come to their house, I feel like I'm coming home. So do we feel that chosen by God? Do we feel that precious to God? When we walk down the street, do we feel, here comes Reverend Moon? I've got to tell you a quick joke. It's not really a joke. It's more of an observation. Go Well Brass Band started in this room in 1979, I think it was. And we, True Parents, bought 80 instruments. We went round every single music shop in London. So we were quite loud. We had 80 musicians in this building. You should have heard our practice, you know, till 1 in the morning, 7 days a week. We were noisy. And anyway, I went into a music shop to pick up some cases for the drums. And I said to the girl on the counter, I've come to pick up the drum boxes for the Go World Brass Band. It was still very difficult to pronounce this long word in English, the Go World Brass Band. And she said, oh, yeah, we're expecting you. John, Reverend Moon's in reception. Come for his drum boxes. Bring him out, could you? So it wasn't somebody, it's Reverend Moon is here. Yeah? That's our impact. People don't see us, they see true parents. So if we go out with a cigarette in our mouth, they say, oh, Reverend Moon, he doesn't teach his children very well. Yeah? If we go out with all sorts of bad fallen habits, that reflects on our holy community. And our holy community becomes a fraud. It becomes an idea which isn't substantiated in reality. So are we truly living a true life, or are we just acting it? When you think, you create. Yeah? Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Yeah? Buddha said, we're shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows as constantly as a shadow that never leaves. Yeah? And Swami Yogananda, he said, when a yogi speaks the truth manifests in reality. So be careful what you think, because what you think is what you say, and what you say will be manifested into reality. It will come true. If you say, I'm no good, then that lack of quality will follow. If you say, I am the creative son and daughter of God, and today I'm going to live a creative, valuable, wonderful life, that will happen. It happens by the power of the word. The word manifests. Now, we had a lot of argument about Black Lives Matter. Yeah? And I have a very beautiful Ghanaian friend in Milton Keynes who's my dear friend, and he put on Facebook, what about this life, what about that life, what about this value, and it got me thinking, black and white and yellow and Middle Eastern, all of our lives matter. But if you say all lives matter, no, it's not Black Lives Matter. It just sounds like a weak response. So what was I thinking? Yeah, about value and racism within our culture. I often give speeches in Milton Keynes about what's your value system. Do we have Muslim values? Submission to Allah? Do we have Buddhist values, which is overcoming self-centered desire, tanha? Yeah? Do we have Hindu values of devotion to God? Yeah? Do we have Christian values, self-sacrificing love? Our fundamental value, in my observation, is family values. We have the values of the love of father, the values of the love of mother. Yeah? We have the values of the love of children. So God incarnates in our life as a parent, fundamentally, as a perfect, loving parent, as power, as beauty, as authority, as the word, as sweetness, as fertility. Mother God, Father God. So, do we live those values of family? I asked my neighbor, whose son is a painter, do you get your son to paint your living room? And he said, no, I go to another company. He said, you're a parent. Has your children ever helped you in any sense? I thought, oops. So, what is the value? The value that we have to do is that children really adore their parents and will do what their parents ask. Why? Because their parents are the fountain of their love, their life, their lineage. You can't force that. You have to do that by an impeller, not by a propeller. Yeah. So, God's bloodline is greater than race. You're my brother, you're my beloved. You're a wrinkly granny or grandpa. You're my soft-skinned, fragrant baby child. And I love you in that personal but universal way. So in parental love, there is no cultural norm. They say that black is the original skin color of original Eve by doing an X chromosome analysis. And that people with red hair, like I used to have, are genetic abnormalities. But I resent that. Yeah? So I now have a joke, which Mitty, when I practiced on her last week, she said, "You can't say that, David." And I said, "Well, I'm going to." Yeah. So I'm now going to, in complete contradiction of what my beloved sister told me, that I am a profound racist. And she said, "What? You said that in this politically sensitive time?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'm a profound racist. I really love the human race. I'm really a bit scared about aliens, but I love human race." So in that way, I'm a racist. And in that way, I'm a proud racist. Because we're one race. As Reverend Moon was saying in the introductory quotes, we have a global crisis of values. We don't have Korean crisis, we have a global crisis. We have East and West, we have generational crises, we have environmental crises, and now, which Reverend Moon didn't know about, but he sort of alluded to, we have health crises as well. Yeah? And that crisis is not solved by the Yugoslavians or by the Azerbaijanis. It's solved by mankind together. Yeah? So, the dream of Peter. Do you know the Bible story of the dream of Peter? Peter was going witnessing, and he got tired, and he fell into a sleep, and in his dream, he saw a sheet coming down from heaven, and there were pigs and goats and cows and all sorts. And the voice of heaven, the angel, said to Peter, "Eat." And he woke up and he said to the angel, "I can't eat pigs, I'm a Jew." And the angel said to him, "You can eat everything. Everything is given to you from God." At the same time, there was a Roman soldier called Cornelius, and he'd heard of Peter going around witnessing to communities. So he sent his 2 manservants, and he was Roman, not Jewish, and he sent his manservants to Peter's house. And Peter said, "Go and tell your master he can come to my house." And so all 3 of them came in. And Peter reports in Acts 10, this is very unusual because a Jew was only allowed to break bread with another Jew. And a Roman was not allowed to come to a meal, wasn't allowed to drink, and wasn't allowed to eat with a non-Jew. And so Peter said to Cornelius, "The dream I had meant that I shouldn't witness to Jews. I should witness to everybody. They're all together in one sheet." So that's the Christian idea of one holy community. There is no Jew. There is no Gentile. There is no Muslim. Guru Nanak said that. There is no Muslim. There is no Hindu. So why are they called Sikhs? We have to overcome that as well. Yeah? We have to be humans. We have to be divine. We have to be children of one holy community. Yeah? Not isolate and find reasons to compete and damn each other, but we need to know, how can we have a foundation to marry each other? And to have children who do not understand the difference of cultural division. In Sri Lanka, Reverend Moon gave a speech in the 90s, and he said, he was talking in Korean, and everybody was listening in English over their headphones. It's very hot in Sri Lanka, and some of the audience fell asleep. So there was a group of people who just got up and went out to have a tea or have a coffee. A Reverend Moon went up to the microphone and said, "Excuse me, I have come a long way. Will you sit down now? I have a message from God for you." And they were really shocked because he said it in English, and the translator amplified it as well. And so being Sri Lankan and very polite, they came straight back and sat down. He said, "Do you know, I have a solution to your racial war, your interracial war between the Sinhalese and the Tamils." And he carried on with his speech. So after the speech had finished, the president, who was his son was an ambassador for peace, he invited Reverend Moon to come to the palace. But because it was very, very dangerous on the streets, so many people had machine guns and bombs, there was a huge terrorism, we wouldn't allow Reverend Moon to leave the hotel. So Reverend Kwak, who was the director of missions, went to have dinner with the president in the presidential palace, which was only about 100 meters away. And the president said, "Reverend Moon claimed to have a solution to our racial problems. What is it? Come up with the goods. Come on, tell us." And so Reverend Kwak said, "The solution is the holy marriage of Reverend and Mrs. Moon." He said, "The oldest daughter of every Tamil family should marry the eldest son of every Sinhalese family. And within 2 to 3 generations, you will not need to have any interracial conflict because you won't know what race you come from. You will just be blessed couples." And the president said, "I am a politician. I am not a religious leader. I don't have the power to do that. But if you want to borrow our Houses of Parliament, I will allow you to come and run your seminar in the Parliament building." So we ran a 7-day seminar after that for parliamentarians in the presidential, in the House of Commons in Kotte in Sri Lanka. So that's Reverend Moon's idea, that through the international, interracial, interreligious blessing, we simply become blessed children of God. We don't have to be English, we don't have to be Greek, we don't have to be whatever. We're children of God, and we're the beloved of each other. Now, your self-definition. What do you say about yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning? Here comes, let me see, what did True Father say about himself? He said, "I'm the returning Lord and Messiah, come to save the world." You think, well, Reverend Moon's either nuts or he knows what he's talking about. So he said to Newsweek, I think 1973, he was asked directly by the editors of Newsweek, "Are you the Messiah?" And he said, "Yes, I am the Messiah. The Messiah is the one who gives his heart and soul to return people back to the heart of God. I am the Messiah, and so are you." That's a mission statement, isn't it? So when you look at yourself tomorrow morning in the mirror, will you say that? Reverend Moon is the Messiah, so am I. What did Jesus say about himself? He said, "Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. Believe me when I say that I am in the Father and the Father is in me. Or at least, if that's too difficult, believe the evidence of the miracles themselves. I tell you the truth. Anyone who has faith in me will do the same as that which I have been doing." It's John 14. What did True Mother say? It's a really strange expression. "I'm the only begotten daughter of God." Yeah? Only begotten comes from a linguistic root of being unique, chosen, number one, of infinite value. Yeah? So, in the autobiography, page 80, she says, for the salvation of humankind and the realization of a world of peace, I determined myself and declared before Father Moon that I would rise to the position of the true parent. I accepted Father Moon. Notice she says, I accepted. This is a question of choice, personal responsibility. Yeah? I accepted Father Moon as the only begotten Son for the accomplishment of our Heavenly Parent's will. It was God's call to me to become the heavenly bride and mother of the universe. I knew my path would be unimaginably difficult, yet I pledged I would live for God and absolutely fulfill my mission to save the world. That's what True Mother says to herself. She says it publicly because she's already said it privately. So, do we have that feeling of uniqueness, of being only begotten? In Danbury, Father said, you might think I have a strong will. I don't. He said, every task I have, even putting out the salt and pepper on the tables in the prison in Danbury, I feel God chose me for this moment. And this moment is a moment of total joy because it's a moment of fulfillment of all of my life was just for this action. So he said, this feeling of joy propels me much more than some reluctant will does. I feel God chose me and I'm blessed to be doing this. It's wonderful. Last Wednesday prayer, Reverend Balcom said we shouldn't have a relationship as subject and object with God. He said, please redefine your thinking. Subject partner, object partner. God wants to live in our lives and he wants us to live in his life. Just as Jesus said, please know that I am actually in the Father and the Father is actually in me. He said, make it a contemplation of partnership. So, people are naturally drawn to people of the same spiritual vibration. If you have a whole lot of Japanese, a whole lot of Jews, a whole lot of English people, they'll probably be in a little huddle chatting in their own language. Yeah? So how do we upgrade ourselves so that we actually vibrate harmonizing with humanity? That means getting out and loving humanity and sharing our life testimony with each other and saying to people, you are not a Jamaican, you're my brother, you're my sister, you're like my mum. When I see you, you're like my mum. So in home church, Father asked us, please go out and serve people, living for the sake of others. Every old woman is your own grandmother, and you should adore her like you adore your own granny. Every child is your child. You should say, are you doing well? Anything I can do to help? To everybody's child. Then they'll think, wow, that person's like my parent, that's like my granny, that's like my grandpa. Yeah, this familial relationship. I must be invested in the other person as True Father was invested in us. He bought 80 instruments and said, please learn to play your instrument and learn to give a lecture. And the quality of your musical and artistic beauty should be the same as the quality of the artistic beauty of your lecture that you give. That's why the film, when Reverend Hannah said, the more lectures that I see, the more vibrant and healthy I think our community is. That's quite true. Learn an instrument and learn to give a divine principle lecture. Do it together with the same passion. So true parents are invested in us in the same way that True Mother was invested in her husband, True Father. Grandparents are invested in their grandchildren. They really want their benefit. Yeah? They really want them to grow, to be beautiful, to be lovely. So, can we meditate on gratitude? Reverend and Mrs. Moon showed us a parental couple who love God first. They showed us that the purpose of our life was actually predetermined at the beginning of creation. Men were made for women. Children were made for parents. Parents were made for children. The family is the central core of the whole universe. That love relationship is the central core of the love of God. It is our purpose. They showed us quite clearly love, life, and lineage. We should be very, very grateful for that. True parents want to be with us from eternity to eternity. We should return that same loyalty that we would like to be with true parents, and we'd like to be together in this holy community here, for eternity to eternity. So, now, after this sermon, somebody asks you, who are you? What will you say? I'm a child of God. I'm of the family of God. I partner in the creation of a world of goodness with God, my parent. And as a member of the holy community of the Creator, our heavenly parent, I state this is my position. And I state it's your position also, which makes us family. So I'd like to finish with a quote which comes from my Church of England Anglican background of the blessing, which came at the end of every sermon that I went to in the church where I grew up, which is Paul's letter to the Philippians, chapter 4, verses 4 to 8. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think constantly about such things. Let us spend a few minutes in reflection.
Arju. So I'd like to say thank you very much, David Rennie, for giving such an amazing message. There's so much to unpack from that message. A lot about identity, a lot about how we see ourselves, how we view ourselves. Are we godlike people? Do we see ourselves as godlike people or messiahs or true parents like people? Or do we see ourselves as sort of ordinary? And a lot of us, and it's really interesting actually sort of reflecting on that. I was personally reflecting a lot on that and how I view myself and connecting myself more to God through worship, through prayer, can really allow us to be able to really realize our value and then also then be able to affect positive and good change in the world. That's something that I personally grabbed, but there's a lot from this message, a lot. So yeah, please don't just take mine, but also take your own sort of homework home. So yeah, I'd now like to invite up AJ for some announcements.
So, good afternoon, community. The first thing I'm going to do is steal David's water, because I know it's hiding under here. So just give me a second. Okay, I'm sure you guys are also pretty thirsty, right? So we'll keep it short. So the first thing I'd like to bring to your attention is the memoir. So The Mother of Peace is actually now available to buy in bulk. So although you might have already bought it on Amazon, you can now buy it in bulk, as in like copies, 10 copies, 20, 40. And of course, if you buy up to 100, then you'll probably be able to get the copies for about 10 euros each. I think if you buy about 10, it's around 14 euros each. So it's still cheaper than actually buying it on Amazon. So if you look into your WhatsApp, and for everybody, and just welcome to everyone watching online and also to North London community, you'll find it in your WhatsApp. I've sent the link already, and you can make your order directly from our own publisher. So that's the first thing. Of course, tomorrow there is the Monday prayer, I believe, with Mr. Hashi. So again, if you'd like to join in with that, that's a regular. As this coming week, the 19th, is going to be a national service, and that will be a sermon given by David Earl. So that will be the national service coming up. So as a result of that, we'll have a Friday fellowship. So for those members of Central London Holy Community, we will meet online on Friday at 5 p.m. So if you want to join in for fellowship, then that's on Friday. So sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, because like, for example, like this week we have a service and we will have fellowship right after the service today. So with that in mind, if you, again, the links are online, it's in your WhatsApp or in your email. And so probably 5 minutes after the service is finished, I'm just going to have a quick debrief with the service team. So thank you again, service team, for your great job today. But after that debrief, we'll get online and then we'll start the fellowship. There are refreshments downstairs, and as mentioned in the chat before, all the stacks are basically pre-packed, so that way there's no cross-contamination between people eating food from a shared plate or anything like that. So help yourselves, there's all kinds of snacks. Just take your packet and obviously keep that for your exclusive use. And please don't share in that way. But otherwise, teas, coffees, and some nice juice as well that's been prepared downstairs. So yeah, please enjoy. Thank you very much for coming today, and have a great week. I'll pass back to you.
So now I'd like to invite the band up for the offering song. And as the band set up, I'd just like to mention a few things. So yeah, we have an offering song. And of course, due to new social distancing regulations and other things like that, we are not going to have the regular offering plate at the front, but afterwards, if you do have tithing here today, we will be collecting it afterwards. But we also then encourage you to donate using tithe.ly, which is on the board up there, which is being set up so that you can even text in your tithing using SMS, or you can just go to the website, search our, what is our account name?
Central London Heavenly Parents.
Central London Heavenly Parents Community. If you search that, then you should be able to find us and be able to donate however much you like. Or you can also just use the account details and just straight away bank transfer. Okay, so let us move on to our offering song. Spices yield a rich perfume. The lilies grow and thrive. The lilies grow and thrive. Refreshing showers of grace divine from the Father flow to every mind. And make the dead revive. And make the dead revive. Oh, land is dry and barren ground. In springs of water may abound. A fruitful soil become. A fruitful soil become. The desert blossoms as the rose. When the Savior conquers all his foes and makes his people one, and makes his people one. And taste the sweetness of his word. In Father's ways go on. In Father's ways go on. Our troubles and our trials here will only make us richer when we arrive at home. When we arrive at home. So I'd now like to invite Inshul up to give the offering prayer.
Join me in prayer. Dear Father Thrones, Heavenly Parents, thank you for this nice sermon of David Winnie. And we want to think about all his words and also think especially of true parents' word and see how we can practice that and see people in a different way, not just as someone different, but try to act differently. We would like to pray for the provenance of True Mother, guided by True Father, and also pray for all the people in the world who may be touched by the virus, and that all the people can heal. And I pray all of that in our name, Joseph and Inchel Kota, from a second generation, a blessed second generation, owner of Chuniguk, Jew.
So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. And here concludes our Sunday service. But as a new sort of tradition we're trying to introduce, we want to sing everybody out. So we can invite up the band one more time. Yeah, and we're going to sing We Are One in the Spirit one more time. So with all your hearts, let's enjoy, and please clap along because it's a fun one.
One more time. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. And we pray that our unity will one day be restored. And they'll know we're God's children by our love. By our love, yes, they'll know we're God's children by our love.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a blessed week. Thank you.